Good evening. It's my honor and privilege to welcome a poster boy of entrepreneurship in India. I'd say entrepreneurship in the globe. We today have a special guest on the BW Dialogue. We have the founder of OYO, Ritesh Agarwal, on the show. Welcome, Ritesh, and thank you for talking to us at BW Businessworld. We're excited to have this conversation with you. How have been the last 60 days for you, Ritesh, personally?
Thank you so much, Mr. Batra, for having me on this session. Clearly, this have been one of the toughest times for anybody who's in the hospitality business. So nothing that I'm very excited about. But at the same time, it's not like crisis knocks at the door before it comes. So now that it has come, it is our responsibility to see through this crisis and we come out stronger. So these are tough times, but we are doing the best we can in these times, and I'm confident that we will come out stronger on the other side. How have you been all through this period?
Ritesh, has been, as you say, it's been a tough time, and the first 3-4 days were very confusing, if I may say. I was lost, and I was very inactive. I was brooding. I was thinking too much. I was feeling guilty. I should have had more money.
Thoughts.
All those kind of, I was very uncertain. If I had to use one word, I was like, what will I do? Will I be able to get through this? Will I be able to deliver on what I need to? So there was lots of overthinking, inaction. 3-4 days I was lost. I have no qualms in admitting that. But I think for us as a sector, media, there is lots of silver lining. We can do a lot of work from home. I would tell my colleagues that we have to be digital first, video first, and they would try. But now we've been forced to be digital first and video first. So it's been very good for us on traffic, reasonably good for us in traffic. And we are literally pivoting. We'll be BW TV in the next 3-4 months, where we do 12 to 14 hours of programming. We already do 4 to 5 hours of video programming every day. So I think for us, reasonably, our revenues are hit. We're at 20% of the revenue, but it's better than zero. A lot of sector. Your sector is pretty much zero. I mean, till some days back, right? And it is slowly coming back. So I think the last 65 days have been the busiest 65 days. I thought I'd write my book, which is pending for a long time. I started. But I think in the last 60 days, I haven't watched a movie. I haven't read a book. I work 14 hours a day, and I'm not complaining. I'm grateful to God. And I can see that as business world will be in a better place in the next 2-3 months. So in that sense, it's been very good. I don't like what's happening around us. And I'm worried about when the economy will come back. And I'm worried about the safety of my colleagues. And overall, those are things that stay on the mind. But overall, personally, it's been, I tried to make the best of what we have.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Howard, your 60 days, you've seen many storms in your life, right? Every 2 years when you grow and you become bigger, there are doomsday predictions about Ritesh Agarwal and OYO. And this time it was real, and because you're a global company, you operate in Europe, you operate in China, you possibly saw, COVID coming before. So possibly you should have been a little more prepared than others. Was it like that in your operations?
So look, to be very, very honest, I think the way we think about it is, I think it was January 22nd when I heard for the first time that a big province in China was getting going under lockdown. The initial reaction was it's bad, and primarily because initial reaction was that it was going to be focused on one country only. But in a month, you start seeing impact in Southeast Asia, Japan, Europe. That's when I realized that it was not going to be a single country problem. It was going to be a global pandemic in terms of size of impact. And like you said, to begin with, the first reaction for me was uncertain, followed with a sense of worry for, to begin with, I think the first question I asked was, are we safe for our customers? And we made immediate changes. Thankfully, till date, globally, no customers contacted the virus. No partners contacted the virus. 12 employees, unfortunately, around that got impacted. but more than half of them and their families have recovered, thankfully, and the others are showing very good signs of recovery, especially in our international markets. People got impacted, but generally, I think that was the first reaction. Second was to make sure that you call your and your friends, near and dear ones, to check on them. And the third one was prepare for this crisis. So we set up a COVID war room, which would look at everything from customer, partner, but beyond all of that, also the community. The first thing we did, I think, we saw US cases start rising. You may remember, I think around March last week, or not even March last week, March third week. So around the time, we immediately responded by opening up our doors to all the US frontliners, whether it is nurses, doctors. By now, we've hosted thousands of them across the US. It was appreciated by Vice President Mike Pence, Ivanka Trump, and others. And then we did the same in India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, and others. So Vande Bharat mission may, for example, Mr. Batra, we are the biggest service providers for the people flying from across the world. We are the biggest service provider for embassies whose citizens are stranded in the country. So we followed through with that. And then, of course, we followed through by stopping all the costs that were controllable, like that of marketing. We stopped costs like that of capex. We stopped costs like those of forward travel and expenditures, and so on. But of course, unfortunately, at the end, as has been shared publicly as well, we had to do furloughs across various parts of the world. We did our best not to have any layoffs, but not to say furloughs are not painful. It was one bad choice over another, and we had to take the decision. At this point of time, my focus is primarily on making sure that how do we prepare our consumers and our partners for the next generation or the next world that will start after COVID.
Thank you, Ritesh, for giving that authentic view of what you went through and how you prepared yourself. Uh, Recently, in the last few months, just before COVID, you brought in some very experienced professionals, entrepreneurs on your board. You brought in Betsy, who built from Baja Corporation, and she serves on the board of many large hospitality boards. She's also the chairperson of Global Logic. You have a board which is pretty much like, it has very wise people on it. When you talk to your board members, I know you're pretty independent. The company is founded around you. It's on your vision. But when you talk to your board members to get their inputs, what is the kind of things that you hear from them? And what are the kind of things you discuss with your board members? Formal board meetings are one. I'm talking as
with you.
Mentorship advice.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think the perspective is fairly straightforward, Mr. Batra. I think in the early days, I think it was a company run by me and my team members. Over time, we brought a great management and beyond, and we had investor board members. But पिछले कुछ 4-5 महीने में we brought in very high quality board members, all of whom have been on public companies. तो बेट्सी से हमारी मुलाकात हुई. I think last year I met her around third quarter. She's on the board of Wynn Hotels and Resorts.
I'm aware.
On the board of Volvo and various large companies across the world. Then we brought in Troy Alstead. Troy Starbucks के CEO होते थे Howard Schultz के साथ में. And then there is a couple of more who will announce in the times to come.
Schwartz.
Mark Schwartz was on the board from SoftBank Vision Fund side. We've now brought in Jerry Lopez, who used to be CEO of Extended Stay America, a big hotel company in US. So over time, companies should be, in my view, board run. अगर आप देखिए तो इंडिया में भी या दुनिया भर में the best founders and promoters build their company in which they are able to make the right thing for the company, but they're also accountable to a well-designed professional board. तो उस कारण से one of my beliefs has been that हमें high quality governance and अच्छी board लेकर के आनी है. At the same time, there have been some discussions about the speed of growth of our company. There's been crazy speed, right, in which we grew over the last 2 years. If you look at our fiscal 19 growth, Mr. Batra, it was 4 times growth on revenue year over year. तो इस growth को अच्छी तरीके से manage करना and ensuring that it is done with a sense of balances is what I feel high quality boards can advise us for. So I'm very blessed that we had this board set together pre-COVID crisis. So after that, we've had significant amount of engagements among each other. At the peak of the crisis, we were almost talking every 2 weeks. And we were talking about everything. We were talking about how do we ensure we do right by our team members? How do we ensure that we are financially in a good place? How do we ensure we are empathetic to our team members? For instance, we've now announced that every employee of OYO will become a co-owner of the company, 100%. There will be not a single employee of the tens of thousands of employees who will not be a co-owner of the company. All of these things get discussed at the board with only one view, saying that in the short term, OYO should come out of this crisis and become, a stronger company. And in the long term, we all want to be proud of building this business. Challenges hai, aisi baat nahi hai. There are real challenges that our company faces and the industry faces. But that's what all of our board members have seen. Troy, saw through Starbucks in 2008, 2009 ka samay, which was one of the toughest times for Starbucks. And similar for others. So मुझे लगता है कि I'm very blessed and my management is very blessed to get their advice. The conversations are not always, light-hearted. They're not always, we disagree. We challenge each other. But all of those with a very simple perspective of saying, OYO ko kaise successful bana. And I'm very, very excited to be working with all of them. The learnings are incredible. My one suggestion for entrepreneurs is ye jaldi karo. I did it very late. You should bring professional board members much more earlier in the journey of your company.
Fantastic. A lot of it must have been tough. It's tough for any entrepreneur to forego people. Being an entrepreneur, being on the top is a very lonely job. Most people talk about your layoffs and that you had to let go some people, but most people haven't noticed that OYO allotted ESOPs worth rupees 130 crore for furloughed colleagues. Tell us, how did that idea come about, and tell us a little bit about what your thought process was when you kind of did that.
So, sabse pehle, Mr. Batra, I think for somebody who gets furloughed in a time like now, it is a really tough time because they get some ex gratia, but that's only for just 2 months. They get very limited benefits, right? And I think we tried to do the best we could. Like I told you, these are one bad choice over another. So everybody who's parents who are parents and have kids going to school, we tried to help them with children's fees. We helped with healthcare for everybody. We set up an exigency fund for parents. So the basic things that we could do, we did. But one of the things that's true is no matter what we do, it will not be enough for the people who are impacted at this point of time. Day before yesterday, Mr. Batra, we did a big town hall with all of our impacted team members, and it was just incredible the kind of responses, right? I think मैं कई बार सोचता हूँ that हमने कुछ अच्छा किया होगा, that we have people like this who are so impacted, but most of them, their questions were, OYO को हम कैसे help कर सकते हैं? How do we get OYO back in order? How do we make the company successful? So I'm very thankful to them. This idea on making people co-owners was very straightforward, saying that in the years to come, I and every team member, whether inside or the impacted team members, are confident that the company will come back out of the crisis and become stronger. When that happens, the people who are impacted now should benefit from the upside of the company in the years to come. So my belief is, that's sort of how we thought about it. We hope it brings positive impact to people's lives and families in the years to come. And I and my team members have one more reason to work hard every day. कि अगर हम OYO को और successful बनाएंगे, तो a lot of our colleagues will also benefit from it. So that's the hope and belief. But like I said, this is not something that you'd like to create an impact of to team members. It's one bad choice over another. But the only thing that you can do in this time is be honest, talk to them very, very often. उनसे WhatsApp में बात करें, उनसे emails में बात करें, उनसे town halls में बात करें. And third, make sure that everything that is in your control, you do to make sure that you truly show them the respect of being a partner and a friend.
There are lots of questions. There are about 11, 21 questions already, 10 comments, 11 questions, and I'll come to that. But, Ritesh, I introduced as the poster child for entrepreneurship. Somebody who thought of a big idea at 19, executed it even bigger, and continues to pivot, orbit change, and build his company against all odds. Uh, Tell us, what are the learnings for entrepreneurs in these VUCA times? These times are literally volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. What is your advice to the young entrepreneurs who look up to you and would like to learn from your journey?
So first off, I'm learning myself every day, just given the situation and the stage of the business we are in, Mr. Batra. So what I will try to do here is sort of summarize what we just spoke and combine that with the with additional. The first thing that we talked about is impact. I think अगर कोई भी entrepreneur को लगता है कि there is a clear strategy, that is a one size fits all strategy that works, that doesn't. So you have to learn and react like you are doing, by becoming BWTV and the changes you are able to make at such a big speed. The second is on the board. Clearly, in today's times, you need advice and a sense of familyhood. We are together on the board of MDI, and in every organization's board, I see that is one place which can either be a place where the entrepreneur comes and shares all the updates about the company, or truly uses that as a forum to as a safe space where they can come share their problems, the challenges, their worries, and use the board to give them suggestions and feedback. I think that's the second thing I would recommend. Third is on team members who are impacted. Don't isolate yourself. Be even closer with the people who are impacted, and try to work together with them. The fourth, for people who are just starting. आज के दिन में कई लोग, जब मैं शुरू कर रहा था बिजनेस, तब मुझे कई लोग बोलते थे कि उस इंडस्ट्री में जाओ जहाँ पे बहुत लोग ऑलरेडी हैं, ऐसी इंडस्ट्री में मत जाओ जहाँ पर there is saturation, and there is not much momentum today. So e-commerce में बहुत momentum थी, और hospitality was not seen as a sector like that. But my view was, if you do hard work, that's when you create value. तो आज के दिन में definitely healthcare पे, education पे, etc. segments में बहुत opportunity है, and मैं genuinely, sincerely समझता हूँ कि entrepreneurs ने वो भी करनी चाहिए. But that said, आज कई सारी sectors हैं which are highly impacted. If those sectors are where entrepreneurs focus and build good businesses, I think they can create a significant amount of value in the times to come. Which, in short, what I'm trying to hint to is hospitality or travel se na dare. In the short term, there will be real challenges, but when the world comes back, you will be the first one to also see the upside.
So one thing I see is the three key traits that come in you, and I've seen it in you in my last interaction. I'm talking to you again. Is one is resilience. Second is be collaborative. And third is be optimistic. And you said you be caring. You didn't use the word caring, but look after people around you. And what if there is a situation, it needs to be honestly shared, and one needs to be communicated. In fact, Ritesh, I keep saying we're in the 3C economy: the collaborative, caring, and contactless economy. You could add more C's. Customer is always at the center. So tell me, the travel and the hospitality industry in the last 70 odd days has lost 75% or more of its revenue, more like 80%. In India itself, 2 crore jobs are at risk because of revenues going down in this sector. And the government hasn't done much for the sector. So what are the prospects of the hospitality, travel, tourism domain? And what do you have to say to players in that segment? You're young, but you achieved something spectacular. You built something valuable. So you have 10 plus years of experience doing that, and you're still learning. So clearly you can share some practical, predictions for the future.
Sure. So I think one of the clear perspectives that we see in the future is that contactless will be critical for the broader hospitality industry to bring trust, which I just wanted to finish your third C. and trust from the perspective of Suraksha Hotel. जून 8 को hotels खुल रही हैं वापस in the country, in most of the states. As that happens, अगर पहला महीना the risks of any of the challenges that are coming, if that those challenges can be managed or mitigated, I think in a month or 2 months you will see weekend travel, sim city travel, and few of those resume significantly. I think
You think hygiene and sanitation and hospitals working with distancing norms, whether it is check-in and through the whole experience, if that can be implemented, you will see weekend travel and leisure travel coming back.
Absolutely. And, I was speaking to one of my friends in Himachal, and he was telling me that Himachal house buying is at an all-time high, second home, and in Uttarakhand. So people are very interested to try and sort of build second homes, partly with the perspective of being there in the next few months and then later giving it to OYO homes to manage. But from OYO's perspective, I think we launched something that's called sanitized stays. That is, once your luggage comes in, we sanitize it. There's circles where people need to stand from social distancing norms. Keys are handed at a box rather than through contact. Digital payment methods are promoted. Rooms, key handles to washrooms, tap handles are sanitized. So we try to do everything possible as a part of an experience ourselves, and so is our industry. Speaking about the industry impact, look, we have big players as well as small and mid-sized players. I think for the big players, they still have some balance sheet and resources to see through the crisis. But the small players, if
and
you're a small...
I just want to build on what Ritesh is saying, just to explain, when he says small player, possibly 75 to 85% of the hospitality and tourism is SME players. They are feeders to large players. So that's why he's focusing possibly on addressing that segment and how they need to survive.
Yes, so that is the most critical segment in our country. In that specific segment, Mr. Batra, my belief is the MSME package that has come out has been actually a great relief. On top of that, I had requested Shri Gadkari ji on my discussion hosted on India Today. He was very, very generous in hearing feedback saying that small hotel owners and startups should be brought under the MSME ambit. I don't think that was the only reason, but of course, I think over time, the recent MSME announcement has really widened the scope of hotels and small and medium businesses that can come under that. And so for dealers in the automobile industry and various people are getting supported in this segment. So I'm very thankful for that. मुझे लगता है कि अगर हमारे जो छोटे होटल ओनर हैं, if they survive through the crisis and they get the help, the big people also need help, but relatively a big change has already been created. And for me, if I am a small hotel owner, there are 4 things I would do. Number 1, capex investments कई बार continued होती हैं. वो एक elevator होगी जिसकी construction चल रही होगी. You will see something happening in the lobby which would be a construction. Try to see that other than the basic capex requirements, if you were trying to create something fascinating like aap naya jhalar laga, you're putting a chandelier or something, please stop any of the future capex investments which do not have real consumer premise. Rather invest in hygiene and safety. Second, I know your banks may say that your covenant checks are due by 12 months or 10 months, so nothing is there to worry, but request for one-time resolution now. This is the time to have the one-time discussions that need to be had. Use technology and improve costs. And number 4, which is the most critical, is ensure that your staff have safety and PPE equipments, because if they are safe, only then the customers are safe. These will be the 4 suggestions that I would give from one person who started his life as a receptionist to another many friends of mine who would be hotel owners, hotel partners, etc.
Thank you, Ritesh. That's for the practical advice to hoteliers and people in the hospitality profession on what should they do to keep their businesses going, especially if you're a small or mid-sized hotel. Coming to, you also invested in a co-working space, right? and the future of work has changed. We all are working from home. You're at your home doing that. So how do you see the future of work? And hence, how do you see the future of workplaces, of co-working spaces? Give us your view on that and give us a peek into the future.
Sure. First off, our focus is primarily in two businesses, which is our hotel and our vacation homes business. In terms of co-working, I think as we speak, our office spaces, of course, were significantly contracted, and we are slowly starting to see companies come back to work. There are two important trends there. The first is there is a big macro trend that work from home will start to become a big reality. There is no question about that. More and more people will want to work from home. But that said, 100% work from home bhi nahi hoga, Mr. Batra. There will be still people who will need to go to work at offices. But what this COVID period has made people realize is that large fixed cost rakhna offices mein is probably not a sensible decision.
Sure.
This current say, I believe, at least from what we are seeing among other companies in some other parts of the world, there will be customers who will ask for flexible sort of requirements in terms of consumer demand and pricing. I believe that those consumers will significantly shift from having fixed costs to variable costs. So to what extent will the upside make up for the downside? I don't know today. We will see that in the times to come. But hygiene and even basic things like, for example, central AC will become a problem where either you will have to have central AC with very high quality medical grade situations to ensure that there are no challenges in terms of infections, or you will see more and more of individual air conditioners. So there will be there will be more cleanliness, there will be significant more focus on ensuring that the whole place is disinfected every time. So those changes are, of course, but natural to come in the new age workspaces, whether they are our workspaces or just workspaces in general.
Fantastic. Ritesh, there are lots of questions. We'll come to it. You've been very open in the way you discussed the future of OYO, the future of the hospitality industry, and the future of Ritesh Agarwal. They keep saying the best investment is to invest in yourself. Last year, you took a debt exposure of almost $2 billion to buy back shares. So to say, you invested in yourself and your enterprise, right? That showed the confidence entrepreneur and a founder has his own business and his own ability to grow it. And you expanded in China, you expanded across the world. There are critics of your expansion saying OYO and Ritesh expanded too fast. Does Ritesh regret it now that he expanded too fast? What do you have to say to those people?
Absolutely, absolutely, Mr. Batra. I think to begin with, 2019 was an incredible year for us. We were a company in India, Malaysia, and of course, quite large in India, but we were still not as large as we had become by early part of this year in the country. I'm very thankful to our 41 million customers and 43,000 hotel owners and 50,000 homeowners who chose us last year. Those are all numbers that I had no remote thoughts of when I started the company 6 years back. I thought that agar 10 hotel ban gaye, to matlab that I would have done a great job in the times to come. So I am very sincerely thankful to all of those people. Within that, I think with all the good things, there have been learnings. हमारे कंपनी के 3 प्राइमरी स्टेकहोल्डर्स हैं मिस्टर बत्रा. सबसे पहले हमारे कस्टमर्स. Our customers like us because we provide them reliable, good price, good location, easy to book experiences. So last year we served these tens of millions of customers. Great appreciation for that. But that said, I think there were 2 important areas of improvement for us. One, how do we improve our check-in experience? And second, how do we constantly ensure that our hotels' qualities improve to give the best choice to customers? उस पे हमने पिछले 3-4 महीने में we made significant improvements, including letting go of over 10,000 rooms in our segment, which of course is a small part of our million-plus room portfolio across the globe, due to which 90% of our revenue is from repeat or word-of-mouth customers. In the side of partners, we are proud that हमने हमारे partners को occupancy ला करके दी, काम ला करके दिया, which by which their business grew. We brought them technology, we brought them efficiency of operations. But at the same time, there were two important challenges. The first one is how do we make sure that we can constantly explain by means of simple terms what our contractual systems and reconciliation systems are. उस पे हमने जनवरी से significant improvements करी. And second, we have also been very focused on helping our partners explain the RevPAR versus the ARR math, which is a 1,000 rupee room sold 80% occupancy gives you an 800 rupees ARR, sorry, RevPAR, versus that of 3,000 rupee ARR at 20% occupancy gives you a 600 rupee RevPAR. So those are two things that we could do better with our partners. And we are very, very focused in that. So we are using this period around COVID and the first quarter of this year to be able to sort of say that the great things from 2019, we want to double down on them, but there are mistakes or learnings of 2019 that we want to correct and use that to make sure that we become a not just high growth player, but even a stronger and a healthier player by foundation. And we are truly thankful for the first quarter. Of course, we are not happy about this second quarter. I'm talking calendar year basis, not financial year. Sorry, but I hope that in the coming quarters we will benefit from the foundational improvements we have made in Q1 of this year.
Good. So, one of the things I like about you, and I'm reading all the questions coming in, is that, you stay optimistic and you try and find positives in whatever you encounter. And I think that's a great quality in an entrepreneur. I'll again go back to my questions. You can be humble, but what are the learnings Ritesh had in the last 3 months that possibly will hold him in good stead throughout his career? Because sometimes when the situations are like the way we are more bold. We take more business-like decisions. We take more decisions on data. We are more determined to make sure we are successful. Right? So tell us, what are the learnings in the last 3 months that you think will stay with you forever? I want to come to consumer behavior and what consumer behavior will stay and what has changed forever. But I want to know about Ritesh Agarwal's learning in the last 90 days.
I would, while I'm thankful if people see me as optimistic, but I am at best realistic, at least in these times. And that's partly because of the job I have. But at the same time, as an entrepreneur, I'm definitely very optimistic. I think specifically in the area of the learnings, I think tough times teach you a lot. I think I have gone through significantly tough times when we started the company and multiple times in the career, including at times when we had just 2 months of capital left and we bounced back and have grown the business. So I'm confident that we will bounce back and become a better business in the times to come.
Good.
Learning one has been tough times brings you closer to your friends and family and your communities. I have done more engagements with my hotel owners and partners. I hosted 5 days back a nationwide town hall in India. I'm doing one with our partners in few other countries in the coming days. So I'm really looking forward to learning from them, and the kind of learnings are just incredible. So for instance, parts of our contactless experience came from a hotel owner in Noida called Mr. Rana. We got some learnings about how do we serve the Feed for Good initiative, where we are feeding migrants across the country from Tushar Jadhav, which is a hotel partner of ours in Nagpur. So we are learning. We learned about the opportunity to try and be a big Vande Bharat. We currently serve, I think, a significant double-digit percentage of the people who are coming from the Vande Bharat, the largest repatriation program that Indian government is leading in the world, actually, where consumers are choosing increasingly OYO as a place of institutional accommodation for 14 days. So all of these learnings are coming from our partners. So one, listening and working more closely with your family, which is your partners, customers, and employees. I think the second thing that I have learned is truly being thankful for the opportunity I have. I think this is a period where So many people are getting impacted. Lots of companies are in distress. Our company is relatively at a place where we have an opportunity to survive through this crisis and come out stronger. I'm thankful for that. And third, I got to learn a lot more about our people. Sometimes, and again, I will not share here publicly, but when I get the time, I will show you some of the questions I received in my internal town halls with my impacted team members. It truly fills my heart to see how people who are impacted can also be so generous to the company. I thought I knew my people and I was very proud of them already, but this period has brought more pride for me, for our team members, both who are here and impacted.
Good. There are lots of questions, 27, about another 10 comments. I'll take selective questions and we'll get some people on the screen. There is a question from Parimal Doshi, President and CEO, AMS Calcutta. Good evening and Unlock 1.0 greetings from Kolkata. We understand OYO is focusing on cloud, dark, ghost kitchens to provide food delivery as a business. What are your current and future plans for operations and expansion of cloud kitchens in India? We're happy to, and then he's kind of pitching himself, we're happy to introduce ourselves as distributors. So does OYO have a big plan in cloud, dark, ghost kitchens?
Yeah, Parimalji, first off, thank you so much for your question. I hope you and your family are safe from the impact of Amphan. My parents live in Bhubaneswar, so I can imagine this being a tough time. I think from my perspective, our primary focus is on our hotel and vacation home business. But that said, Khana is very critical in the hotel industry in India. If you've grown up in India in the middle class family, you will know that hotel ka matlab hai ki once you're there, you also have khana either in the room with your friends and family and relatives or at the lobby. I think specific to that, we will be focused on food in our hotels. In some specific places, we will of course consider to also deliver that using our third-party partners. And I have taken note about your details. If we do this in Calcutta or if we require services of yours, we will absolutely reach out to you. Thank you, Parimalji.
A lot of people are asking about education, and you and me serve on the board of my alma mater, MDI, and you're the youngest on the board. I'm the latest on the board, so to say. Tell us how skilling in the hospitality industry will manifest. So you said the new economy needs new skills. It needs a new orientation. So do you think there will be an OYO school of hospitality soon? An OYO school of skilling? Because again, it serves that large SME base who need to reskill themselves for the new future.
Sure. I also saw the question from Mr. A.K. Singh from IHM Mumbai. Hello, sir. Yes. We've been very thankful to have some of your students who have worked with us. So very happy to see your question. I think specifically one of the things that I will break this into short term, medium term, and long term. I think from a long term perspective, hospitality will be critical, and the skilling will need to be almost as if in these times. One of the things that I believe, one of the segments that have not gotten the full due is that yes, the healthcare workers are defenders. Yes, the airline ground staff are defenders. Yes, the aviation people are defenders, but so are the hotel professionals as well, because we have served people from tens of countries who are stranded. We've served as self-isolation centers. We've served for people who need places, when they have repatriated back to India, and various things in that order. So I believe that hospitality people will need to be trained as healthcare defenders as well in some way in the times to come. So the genuine warm smile will be needed, but the warm smile will unfortunately or fortunately be behind the mask. The second is in the medium term.
There is a question from Abhi Talukdar, founder hotelelementary.in. He's a hospitality consultant in Bhubaneswar. Post-lockdown, is OYO thinking of redrawing, modifying contracts with partner hotels? If yes, on what aspects and parameters?
Thank you. Thank you again for that question. So specifically about how we look at our partner contracts globally. So globally, 98% of our contracts are on straight revenue share, and 2% have some kind of commitments underlying them. Now, of course, in the new world post-COVID, it's hard to sort of have fixed commitments in contracts in most places. Of course, we also have contractual obligations. So we are working and discussing in good faith with our partners wherever contractual obligations allow us to be able to work with our partners to be able to have revenue sharing arrangements in the last 2-3% of our broader segment. But for rest of the hotels, this is the time when it is extremely critical that we help our partners, because अगर हमारे hotel partners नहीं survive करेंगे तो हमारे business का बहुत value नहीं है. So in the last 2 months, we have made significant reductions on our fees. We've reduced probably 24 crores of fees in the last 2 months and given that back as rebates to our hotel partners. Hopefully that will do a little bit of a difference in terms of enabling our partners to also see through this crisis, and together we can come out stronger.
Fantastic. There's a question from Himani Sood, Vice President Corporate Affairs, Chandigarh University. Would want Chandigarh University to partner with OYO for various CSR activity, and your advice to academia to keep pace during these unprecedented times?
So thank you so much, Ms. Sood. I think from our perspective, first off, thank you so much for inviting me as well. I think we believe there are two specific areas there. The first one is there are significant amount of opportunities in the times to come for universities to help their students, specifically in the area of skilling them in the areas of technology, because that is to be the next big industry. It always was, but the COVID impact will accelerate it. And the second, we will be very happy to work together with the university in positive ways of supporting our communities, whether it is helping the migrants for food or housing, or even for ensuring how we can help the people who are living in the cities as well.
I know how the idea of OYO came, but someone wants to hear it from Mr. Ritesh Agarwal. How did the idea of OYO came? Give us the story behind the name OYO.
Sure. I think, specific to, it wasn't like one day I woke up and got the idea. I think it was a bunch of learnings. I think we saw that I started a company called Oravel, which was a website where people could book spaces online. I realized very early that my homeowners needed much more deeper handholding, whether it is in the form of pricing, revenue management, standardization, branding, and so on. And our customers expected a significant amount of deeper experience like reliability, end-to-end ownership of experience, ubiquity. So that got me thinking that maybe I should try this in one hotel. So the first hotel partner we had was somebody called Mr. Rajesh Yadav. My proposal to him was nafa hua to dono ka, nuksan hua to hamara. So he chose us very thankfully. But then he said that आप लगता नहीं कि अगर नुकसान हो तो आपके पास पैसे हैं भरने लायक, पर उसके बाद भी हम आपके साथ पार्टनरशिप करेंगे. So I'm very thankful for his trust. The first hotel did very, very well. Our occupancy went from 15-20% to 90%. And ever since, he told few other friends about us. They joined us, and one thing led to another, and we've been able to get to the place where we have. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. There is a young boy called Vicky Kumar. He was on our BW Hotelier webinar with I remember Chef Ranbir Barar. He says, "Hi Ritesh sir, I am a BBI entrepreneurship student. Now I am planning to start my own company as same as OYO business model, but in the agriculture sector. I will buy fruits and vegetables directly from farmers to sell directly to our small store and website. But I'm very confused. How do I go ahead and whether I'll succeed or not? Please guide me."
Sure. Look, I think it's very clear that this is the best time to start a business. And specifically in agriculture, our government has been very forthcoming. भारतीय सरकार ने अभी recently agriculture में लोगों को जो जहाँ पे भी वो सामान बेचना चाहते हैं, वो बेचने के लिए significant openings और reforms लेकर के आए हैं. So you are in the absolute right place at the right time, love. I highly recommend you to help the farmers of our country to bring their fresh, clean produce to consumers. In my view, the best way is to reach out to the farmers and learn from them. मैंने हमेशा सीखा है कि that you speak to your partners and learn from them. मिस्टर बत्रा, सिर्फ एक चीज मैं कहना चाहता हूँ. मिस्टर जडवानी, मैंने आपका क्वेश्चन देख लिया है and I have seen your contact number as well. I will have our team reach out to you for the specific situation. Thank you.
I did see that question, but I think that question I would have got you addressed one-on-one, but it's very gracious of you to do. Ritesh, I want to ask you, when I chatted with you before the event and I did ask you about growth, and we'll take a couple of more questions, is that, in the past also many people have, written off OYO, and OYO has only gone from strength to strength, and it has defied all negative energy to grow, right? Even in the last 30 days, there have been rumors and the murmurs that Ritesh is leaving OYO. What do you have to say to people who continuously keep doing negative articles, only take a small negative issue, which is a structural issue, and blow up? So tell us, how do you deal with all this negativity, and how do you still come up with the business ideas and the energy to be able to grow the business?
So first off, Mr. Batra, we've learned the most from our critics and our friends equally. So I have learned that keep your critics close to your heart, because उसमें अगर 20% भी चीजें सीखने के लिए, तो हमें उससे सीखना चाहिए. So we are very committed in doing that. The second area, which is critical in the form of our business, is that it is my honor and my privilege to be able to sort of see OYO through these tough times. I will see OYO through these tough times, and I will make sure that with my fantastic team members, partners, and customers, we will build a fantastic business in the times to come. We really are appreciative of that. The third is, there are some places which are critics, which may be infactual. For example, the thing that you mentioned about murmurs of I not being in the company, I'm very thankful to the publication that has that wrote the story. I don't think they should be blamed. They came up with an apology article promptly and have in today's world, media organization taking responsibility is also a great thing. They were gracious, but they're also very straightforward. I respect that. And I think the fourth thing is that there may be some people who may not want our company and our people to be successful. For me, I think it's a very simple perspective that while we may have a couple of people who may have that view, 98% people of India want to see this company succeed. Our customers want to see this company succeed. Our partners want to see this company succeed. I draw a lot of energy from it. So if there is one thing that you can't fault us for, that is resilience, sahanshilta. So if there are tough times, we will come back harder than ever before. We may fall again, but we will come back again harder than ever before. So that's our general strategy about myself as well as of OYOpreneurs.
Yes, Ritesh, you're an inspiration to many, and very few people would be able to dream as big as you do and execute as big as you do. So we wish you luck. I want to take two more questions that are very, very relevant. One is Prachi Chandraramani is asking you, how are you analyzing consumer behavior? What would be your revised pricing policy? And I'll ask a supplementary question. What are the consumer habits that have changed totally and will continue post-COVID, and some which are only temporary and in this phase? That's the question on consumer behavior.
Sure. I think, Ms. Prachi, thank you so much for your question. I saw a few questions from you. Thank you so much for asking those. I think from a consumer perspective, we are all learning and we are constantly reaching out to customers and finding out what's going on. We're seeing consumer preferences for people to be in low dense accommodations, which means vacation homes and private homes or villas as bookings are increasing. We are seeing that I believe is going to continue to happen. We are seeing consumers being very focused on sanitization and hygiene. We are seeing customers being focused on not wanting to take flights, but rather just driving. So those are the kind of opportunities we are seeing on one side from the consumer. And I feel what would be long term and what would be short term is hard to say. But I do believe that some things now, for example, the hygiene and sanitization will probably be for the very long term. I don't think that this is going to be a one-time thing, and we are going to make sure that we ensure that Oyo comes out stronger. Yesterday, we announced our Scrub Say initiative in US as per the CDC guidelines. We've done some in India, so we hope that we will not just see that change. We will also hopefully come out ahead and stronger in that specific change.
Thank you, Ritesh. Ritesh, also Mr. Dudeja is asking you, the hotels are being converted into COVID hospitals. Give us a sense of it. How has it happened for Oyo? And you offered your hotels to help the government and to help the people who will be impacted because of Corona. So how many of your hotels and what was the process of conversion? How does it impact your operations?
Sure, we have specifically cordoned off those hotels which are servicing any of the isolation centers. Of course, we are not a hospital, so we don't have patients with us, but there may be institutional quarantine that we may have in some of our hotels across the country. But those hotels are cordoned off and are specifically available for those purposes. And for rest of the hotels which will be available for consumers, not only will they be fully sanitized, there will be significant efforts taken in order to ensure that we only have our retail customers staying in those hotels. And we are looking forward to be able to open up our hotels and make sure that consumers come and stay with us.
Fantastic. There are lots of comments coming, and there is a question from Deepak Manocha. Ritesh, who do you see as a threat competition to your business, and what keeps you awake in the night? And then there are lots of comments. So, who do you see as a competition, and what keeps you awake in the night?
So, look, I think for us, we believe that anybody who can deliver our consumers a service, is in some way somebody we are competing with. But that said, we have evolved so much in our cycle that we believe, and again, this may sound slightly philosophical, is that we believe that there is something to learn from every player in the system. In the ecosystem, most of the people you may imagine are our competitors, are mostly our ecosystem partners who we work with. What keeps me awake at night to begin with, I work hard, so the hours I sleep, like even if I sleep for a few hours, I end up sleeping very quickly. But that said, that's on a lighter note. Things that worry me, most of it is, in the times to come, one of the most critical things will be how do I make sure that our team members are always in high spirits and highly motivated towards creating a big impact. And that's one of my big focus as to how do I keep our people motivated and engaged, especially when we are not working on one floor with a lot of hustle and bustle that used to be our standard way of working, and now working primarily work from home.
Fantastic, Ritesh. We're towards the end of our time, and I just want to ask you last two questions. One is about technology. Now, technology is what made Oyo happen. Asset light, and how people access experiences. Tell us, what will be the role of artificial intelligence, technology, machine learning going forward in the business of hospitality? And my last question is, Ritesh, where do you see yourself 3 to 5 years from now? Where do you see Oyo 3 to 5 years from now? I know right now we're all thinking 30, 60, 90 days. I don't think we're thinking, we may have it at the back of our mind, but I think we're focused on the now and possibly week by week by week, one point at a time. But tell us about technology in the hospitality business. And second is, where is Ritesh going to be in future? Where is Oyo going to be in future?
Sure. Look, I think technology will be critical to every business now. Technology will not be a separate sector. Every sector will have technology intertwined into it. That's my strong belief in the times to come. Hamare industry mein we haven't typically used technology in the kind of manner which is required. And I think this is the opportunity for us to use technology and improve on our efficiencies better than ever before. In the area of where Oyo will be, it's very hard for me to say, but because like you said, we are all taking it one day at a time. But that said, I'm confident that Oyo will come out of this crisis, build a good business by serving its customers and partners with a market leading practice that we are known for all through the last few years. Crores of customers have in some form or the other trusted us. We hope they continue doing so in the
Thank you, Ritesh. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You're working always. You're trying to make your company stronger, work for your partners, for your employees. But apart from work, is there anything else that Ritesh does to keep himself, energized? Is there a self-care routine that you follow, Ritesh?
The most important focus for me has been making sure that we are constantly designing our experience and ensuring that learning from our friends. What gives me the most energy is when I'm talking to our various leaders of the hospitality and travel industry, when I'm talking to our hotel partners and getting to know about their families. That's very exciting to me. Beyond that, I love watching documentaries. As you know, Mr. Batra, we have a shared interest in that. And one of them that I like the most is The Men Who Built America. It shows how US comes out of a civil war crisis and becomes into one of the leading successful countries in the times to come.
Fantastic. All the best to Mr. Ritesh Agarwal for building Oyo. And Oyo is not just an organization, it's a movement. It is in multiple countries. It's a pride for India. We have an Indian entrepreneur, founder, building a global enterprise and providing employment and making an impact. We wish you all the luck, Ritesh, in building Oyo. And I'm sure during COVID, you'll reinvent, you'll pivot, and you'll be stronger and more impactful than ever. I look forward to more interactions with you and wish you all the luck in building Oyo to the next level. God bless you, Ritesh.
Thank you. Thank you so much.